Good morning, Steve, and thank you so much for being with us this morning at Glee TV. Why is Glee so important for you?
Glee is always important, I think, to the whole industry. We attend as a company every year, and Southern Trident are a small company that's trying to grow, so this is a good opportunity for us to get in front of people and just explain the new products that we're bringing to the market, the range that we have, because not everybody even knows who we are at this point in time.
In terms of sustainability, do you respond to customers' demand, or you take the initiative of actually looking for measures to make the business a bit more sustainable?
Our view is to lead the industry. So I've been in growing media in the industry for probably a little over 20 years now, mainly dealing in growing media and compost and those kind of things. And within my role in the industry, I also chair something called the Responsible Sourcing Scheme, which is about making sure we're doing the most responsible thing as far as growing media is concerned as we move from peat to peat-free. So Southern Trident is developing products. We're trying to do exactly the same. We're looking at everything that we're doing and how sustainable we can make it. So one of the key steps that Southern Trident's taken is to make ourselves carbon neutral. And then on top of that, we've looked at not just the company and how globally we make Southern Trident carbon neutral, we've actually looked at products specifically. So we have a peat-free range called Harmony Gardens, and we've made that product specifically carbon neutral. So it's the only carbon neutral compost in the world. And we've done that to try and lead the market and say, right, we've moved to peat-free, so where's the next thing that we can move to after that? And that was the obvious choice for us. The important thing I think that we're trying to make sure that we do is ensure that our product works. One of the big challenges as we move from peat to peat-free is ensuring the efficacy of the products that we're bringing to market now. Producing a peat-based compost, quite frankly, was relatively simple. You took peat, you added nutrients and a bit of lime, and you had a compost. Now you're blending lots of ingredients with lots of different kind of chemical and biological factors to them to try and make something that works as well, if not better, than what peat used to.
And are customers informed about this, or do you actually have to train your staff so that they will inform your customers about it?
There's a huge education process. So as an industry, we're trying to do that. So there's been some work between the Horticultural Trade Association, the Garden Centre Association in creating some learning modules to start teaching staff in retailers how that's going to work. But it is really important because things are different. I mean, really simple things like if you look at the top of a pot that's got peat-free in it, it looks dry within a day or two. So the risk is consumers will re-water it, but actually the material underneath is still damp. So now we have to educate consumers, don't look at the pot, put your finger into the compost, and if it still feels damp, don't water it. And it's changes like that that are subtle, but we have to kind of educate the consumer that these changes have come along.
Speaking about gardening itself, many people took up gardening during the pandemic. Do you think that was just a trend because people were bored, or that will continue in the future?
I think it will continue. There's definitely a step back, and we can see this year more people are going on holiday, more people are going out and doing other things. So gardening's dropped back a little bit. But to a retailer, if you speak to a retailer and say, how is your turnover and how is your business versus 2019 prior to the pandemic, all of their businesses are significantly up since that period in time. So there's a definite trend that people have come into gardening. And it's true of gardening that once people get into it, they love it and generally enjoy it, and then they keep gardening and they get more into it. And I think one of the things that the pandemic's allowed us to do is get younger people involved. So typically, people who've got their first home that are in their 20s or 30s wouldn't get engaged in gardening particularly. But actually, because they were stuck at home, they did get engaged in gardening earlier than they probably would have done. And you can see that now with the demographic of gardeners. I think it's brought down the age of gardeners very slightly. And
do you think that they're seeing it as a viable career choice?
It's a difficult one with career choices. I think that's of us of an industry. We have to make sure that we're paying the right kind of money to people to bring them into the industry. We're in a strange position at the moment where effectively there's more jobs out there than there are people that are unemployed. So if we want to bring people into horticulture, then we've got to really make sure that we're paying the right kind of wages and find ways of attracting them. And in Southern Trident, again, we work really hard to bring young people into the business. If I look at who I brought into the business this year, probably 60% of the people I brought into the business this year are under the age of 30. And that's a kind of conscious decision for me, is to bring younger people into the business, because ultimately they're the consumer that I want to target. So if I've got that demographic in my business, rather than being kind of middle-aged white like me, as it were, it's like bringing that wider demographic into my business. Then we understand the consumers we're trying to sell to.
Thank you so much for being with us at Glee TV, and thank you for watching.